Hello doggos, today we are reacting to a Zack George training video. But before we do that, make sure to subscribe and then click that little notification bell so you get all the videos from us and also encourage us to bring you more videos. Let's jump right into it. So let's begin.
There's nothing more important in training.
That damn hand. We're not even 1 second in. Put those treats aside. I can tell you what's going to happen right before I even start watching this video. The dog is going to start being mouthy, obnoxious, bullying, pushy, because he wants the treats in your hand.
Than teaching your dog to stay. Today I'm going to...
Whoa. Okay. So this is what happens when you have food in your hand and you're not giving it to the dog. The dog gets frustrated and now you want to go pet the dog. He's like, nope, do not touch me. I want the food in your hand. Not good.
Cover that as well as 3 vital dimensions to your...
And now you've just rewarded the dog for biting your hand. That is not good. I'm pretty sure he did this without knowing, but that's because you have food in your hands. If you didn't, this wouldn't be happening. I hate that. This kind of training, I'm not attacking Mr. George. I'm sure he's a super amazing human being, but this in training is no.
Training you must understand to teach your dog almost everything. Today, Bruno and I are going to cover the critical 3 Ds of dog training. In fact, I'm willing to say if you understand these 3 concepts, and you will, you're going to be well on your way to having a perfectly behaved dog. As the 3 Ds in dog training, the first one, having your dog focus on you for a period of time, duration. Next, teaching your dog to listen to you.
Okay, I'm not sure what I know what I saw. I'm not sure why I saw it. To me, that is just no. First of all, that mouthing needs to go away. So if this were my training session and no 3Ds, time out, toss that out the window because impulse control is what we need to work on right now. This dog needs to stop biting Mr. George, period. And he'll do that by putting the food away.
You a bit farther away, distance, and finally teaching your dog, ouch, to listen to you in a more exciting situation or around distractions. That's the 3rd D. Today I'm going to try and illustrate all 3 of these concepts by showing...
I'm sorry, no, just no. This obnoxious behavior is not acceptable. This dog needs to learn impulse control. 3Ds is not the time. First of all, we train the 3Ds once the dog actually knows the behavior at 100% reliability rate. And I'm clear this is not the case. So those treats and that hand need to leave. You need to show your dog you have nothing and work for me. It frustrates and saddens me because dogs are so freaking smart, but they're never taught how to think. They're just taught how to follow a cookie.
You how to teach your dog to stay. The 3 Ds, duration, distance, and distraction, aren't just for teaching your dog to stay though. They come in handy for a variety of different things.
The goal here is to put the food away, show your dog you have nothing, and when it is calm and quiet like this, then you give it a treat. Teach it to stay calm and quiet first.
Whether that's stay, come, play dead, or
now
speak,
he deserves
but
a cookie.
Stay is a potentially life-saving skill that you should work on early and often with your dog in their first year of training, regardless of age. When teaching your...
I don't know if I've said this before in my other videos, but I was asked this recently by a client of mine. How much time do I need to invest in training for my dog to behave properly? Now, the number I'm going to tell you is going to be really surprising. You might find that in the first year of their life, as Mr. George just pointed out, there is going to be a lot of training. If you put it in hours, it's close to 1,000. So if you're going to buy a dog, think about that.
Your dog anything, it's always a good idea to break things down into smaller steps. Not only will your dog learn more quickly, but it's just easier that way.
That is absolutely right. But breaking down behavior into smaller steps really helps the dog to understand what it is that you're training.
Essentially what this means is only requiring your dog's attention for very short bursts of time, at least at the beginning. Let me show you what I mean. Stay. 1, 2. Yes. Good job. Okay.
Dog would need to know sit first, 100% reliability rate, before we can add stay.
Good job. Okay, get up. Come on, over here. Good job. Nice work. So that happened really fast, didn't it?
Well, yes, it kind of happened fast because you have food in your hand and the dog's just looking at the food. But it's not 1, 2. It's Mississippi 1, Mississippi 2. Seconds also take time because they are time. Anyway.
What we got was a 2-second stay, and then I released Bruno from the stay to just be very clear about my communication that, hey, that stay is over. It's almost as if you're trying to...
So what we do to break the stay is to throw a treat, not only for the stay, but for the behavior itself. So if you really want to know if the dog understands sit, stay, throw the treat far behind it so it has to get up. Once it's eaten the treat, if it knows the behavior, it should come right back to you and sit. If it doesn't do that, it does not know what sit means.
Catch your dog staying. You want to take advantage of those opportunities to let them know that you like what they're doing at that moment. Sit, stay. 1, 2, 3, yes!
Again, the dog is just focusing on the food in the hand and the stay. So I'm not impressed by any of this. So just take that food, put it away, and then do exactly the same thing. See what happens.
Good job, you're doing terrific. At first, get really good at teaching your dog how to do a 3 to 5 second stay and work up to a good 30-second stay over that first week. Do everything you can to keep your dog from breaking stay more than one time in a row. This will keep you both focused on success. If you're like most people, you probably have started working on stay while you walk.
Okay, I understand that he's explaining things and his explanation is accurate, so I have nothing to kind of say about that. But here he's rewarding the dog for lying down. So in a training session, you don't work on sit and lie down. These are two different training sessions, and that's really important for the dog, for it to understand what it is that you're actually doing.
Away or with distance a little bit prematurely. Before you get too serious about distance training, make sure that your dog is really staying for a period of time pretty solidly first.
The reason for that is that moving away takes time. So if the dog can't sit and stay in front of you for 30 seconds, then moving away further back where it might take you 30 seconds to do, the dog is just going to fail.
This is a key point. Understand that the farther away you and your dog are, the less likely your dog is to listen to you. So distance training does require a pretty serious commitment. Fortunately for us.
Okay, pawing, jumping, trying to bite his hand, and now wrestling with this dog. Again, I go back, impulse control. It's not the time to train 3Ds with this dog.
Though, teaching your dog to stay while at a distance is one of the easier things to teach with distance. As before, we're going to go in small steps.
This dog is being trained for being obnoxious, which they already are because they're adolescent. You absolutely need to put the food away because the dog is hyper focused on that. It doesn't care about you. It cares about the food you have in your hand, and that to me is heartbreaking. I want my dogs to work because of our relationship, you and me, not because I have food in my hands.
Let me show you what I mean. Sit, stay. Yes, good job. Okay, come on. Nice work. Notice
how this food becomes everything. Sit, stay, or stay, and then come. And the dog is following food. It has no idea what it's doing. And to me, that is a big problem because you'll have to get rid of these behaviors after. You'll have to remove all these cues, these unnecessary cues that you use that make no sense.
Just took one step back. I didn't walk 10 feet back. I didn't pause for 30 seconds and wait for Bruno over here to break his stay. I set him up for success. This is very, very important if you're interested in making progress in a reasonable amount of time.
That's absolutely true. Like, if you got to take the time to put in the time because stay is a complicated behavior to do.
Sit, stay. Yes, good job.
Okay, so he's doing this perfectly. What I teach is a bit different because we don't have lures, so the dog doesn't learn to look at our hands. But when you start moving away, the first thing you want to do is be able to, 1, take a step back, 2, turn around. The most common way people train sit stay is by moving backwards away from the dog. That's not how we walk. sit, stay means you sit, you stay in that position, I'll take a step back, or I'll turn around right away and leave. So sit, stay, take a step back, turn. Why are you going back so far, going backwards? I see this all the time. I mean, when I was younger, I used to train like this, but it made no sense because I don't walk backwards. I turn around and walk forward. So train what actually happens in life.
Nice work. Even though he got up a little bit there, I'm not too worried about that because I can tell that he's trying. Adjust your expectations as to how you define distance. For example, with some young dogs, particularly puppies that are...
So to get the dog out of the sit-stay, just throw the treat on the ground, behind it, sideways, whatever. The dog will get up to go eat. So instead of using lures to get it up, only
a few weeks old, you might just need to back away a few inches like this. Stay. Yes, good. Because young dogs are particularly clingy and really want to follow you. Stay.
In young dogs, you don't teach sit, stay. They need to be able to sit in every single environment you place in it. No, you place it in.
So Bruno's doing a great job here. When I take a step or two back, I'm just gonna kind of experiment and see what I can get away with. Look at me, up here.
Oh my God, there's so many things happening. Look at me up here, down, the hands are moving all over the place. The number of behaviors Mr. George just displayed are all cues to the dog, and that can become extremely confusing. I'm confused. I have no idea what his hands are doing. There's food and sit and lure and like... Just toss the frickin' treat on the ground. The dog will go get it.
I'm gonna wait till I get his attention before asking him to stay. Hey, up here, stay. That's fine. Yes, good job.
Again, it's Mississippi 1, Mississippi 2, Mississippi 3, Mississippi 4, Mississippi 5. That's 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is not 5 seconds. That's like 2.5.
Good. Stay. Yeah, good job. And since he's got that habit of kind of popping up there, I think it's an easy enough matter to get him back into a sit, so I'll ask for that.
If the dog got up, is because he doesn't know sit. Just make sure that you're training one behavior per session. If you're training a sit-stay, for example, if you say good boy and the dog gets up, fine, give it its treat. Just start over again and be clearer up here. It works. Dogs understand that.
Oh, really good. He's got great eye contact too. Stay. I'm going back a little bit farther this time.
Is the eye contact in the eyes or eye contact on the hand with food in it?
Stay. Good. And as you continue to do this, avoid being too predictable by just taking 3 steps back every single time. In other words, mix up your distances. Go over here, stay. Good.
And you can walk straight up because walking bent over is also a cue.
Stay. I'm going to change my angle a little bit. Good. Stay. I'm going to go real far back now, but I'm going to hurry up and get back here. I'm not going to pause at the end of my stay because I want to make sure that I set him up for success. That was an amazing example. He is just doing stellar right now. Okay, good job. Regardless of what stage of stay you're teaching your dog, it's important to routinely keep those rewards coming to them. Have a decent rate of reinforcement. That means don't just give them one treat for every stay.
Variable schedules of reinforcement are a thing, and so are the rewards that we're giving. The harder the dog works, the more treats you're giving. And here, I don't want to judge Mr. George because I don't really know, but in this case, the dog's not getting enough rewards for what he's doing.
Bruno is doing even better than I expected him to be doing at this point in this training session. So I think that we can go for some bonus training before we get on to distraction training and teach him how to stay with distance and duration combined. Stay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ooh, a distraction. 6, 7, 8.
So his counting is way too fast. When you give the dog a command to stay, you're giving it once. You don't need to keep your hand and your body in that position. You can just be straight and say stay and put your hand down. because realistically speaking, you're not going to be like this while you move away. And then, as I said before, turn around. Why are you moving backwards? Just turn around in front of the dog, see if it will just stay there.
9, 10. Okay, yes, good job. Oh, that was awesome. I'm gonna give him a really big reward there because that was his first 10-second stay with distance. That's a big deal, guys. That's awesome. Bruno, we have a video to shoot here. You can't chew on the leash. Needless to say, you'll need to teach your dog how to stay in the presence of a minor distraction before expecting them to stay in the presence of a major distraction like a squirrel.
We work with high distractions to begin with, as young as possible, because it actually tells the dog that this is part of the environment. That's why we teach group classes outside. This is life. This is how it happens. There are distractions all the time. So I just work very differently.
Now we know Bruno will stay for a few seconds at a time here, so we're gonna get him warmed up with that. And now I'm just gonna move this toy a little bit. Yes, good job. I'm gonna reward him. He didn't respond to this moving distraction, but now I'm gonna up the ante a little bit and make it a bit.
Well, he's not moving. He's not even looking at the toy. He just wants more food out of your hand.
Tougher. Stay. Oh, no, too much. That was his first broken stay of the day right there. That's because we've been going out of our way to set him up to be successful each time. Yes, good boy. Nice work. Stay. Yes, good job. I'm not even giving him a chance to break. Good job. Okay, Bruno, stay.
You could also just give the toy.
Whoa, 2 squeaks. I'm not getting up and walking away and pausing for many seconds at a time and also distracting him. I'm staying up close because that's easier for him. So teach each one.
Okay, I'm confused here myself. So his left hand has food in it, and then the toy and his other hand. Okay.
One of these independently before combining them, but I'm feeling pretty good. I'd like to see if we can get lucky and get a glimmer of success.
Because he's holding the toy and the food is in that hand. So of course he's not going to get distracted because the food is in that hand. So technically you should be distracting the dog with the toy in the other hand. If you're going to do this, you see where I'm going with this? There's no real distraction there because the food is in that hand.
With combining duration, distance, and distraction with stay right now. Stay. Are you kidding me? That is unbelievable. I'm gonna go ahead and give yet another big jackpot reward to Bruno for that exceptional behavior there. I mean, this is really not as easy as it looks with many dogs. Don't be discouraged if you don't progress this quickly, but it's all about timing and really finding those tiny moments of success if you really want to make a lot of gains in a shorter period of time. That's fine.
That is not fine. I see this all the time. No. Just no. You're working on sit stay. Why are you accepting down stay? That's a whole other behavior. That is not fine. It's not. Down is down. 2 different behaviors. This is absolutely 100% unacceptable. I'm sorry, Mr. George. No, just no.
That's fine. I don't mind that he lied down. Again, he's not moving away from me and he's not coming towards me. He's maintaining his general position in space here. Stay. Yes, good job. And
that is very good. So the last part here is really good. So you want to pay up on this. This is a handful of treats in my book, but it's still, your behaviors need to be clear.
He made it even tougher there by dropping the toy, and he still maintained his stay. When he gives you,
because he's focused on the food, sorry to say,
those eyes, you reward that. If you don't have your dog's eyes, you do not have your dog.
That's absolutely true. Why? Because the brain is behind the eyes. If you don't have the eyes, you don't have the brain. That's how vision works. I teach, this is the first thing, it's lesson 1 in puppy group class, is to learn to check in. We don't put treats in the middle of our forehead, first of all, because that's just ridiculous. What we do is when the dog naturally looks at you, reward them. Reward them for looking at you. This behavior doesn't even get a name. It's just, look at me, like I exist. And we don't call it look at me because in a situation where the dog is highly distracted, if you ask him, he's not going to do it.
You must be able to get their eyes on cue. It's important to maintain this line of sight here where
You don't need to put look at me on cue. The difference between our training, as I can see it, is that I teach the dogs to think. Here we're teaching the dog to follow treats.
you can really have good eye contact just to kind of stay in communication with your dog. Plus, it's easier to read if they're going to break or if they're thinking about breaking. Okay, good job. If you look into their eyes and you suspect that they're thinking about breaking, that's your cue to get in there.
I'm sorry, those ears? Oh my God, we have to watch that again. I'm sorry, I'm rewinding for a second here because that was way too cute. Wait for it. Look. Oh, there's... That is so cute.
Up here. Yes, good. And see right there, he started to get tempted a little bit more to break, so I wanted to iterate.
When the dog is faced with a bigger distraction, they're not going to respond to your cue of look. It has to be a voluntarily given behavior because it's intrinsic. It comes from inside.
Interrupt it, get over here and reward him. Oh!
Too much, too soon.
I was getting confident there. Distraction training is hard for dogs and requires months of training in a variety of situations and places before your dog will generalize listening to you reliably in the face of heavy distractions. So naturally, you're probably wondering about how to teach your dog and prepare them for more serious distractions like squirrels, dogs, cats, and other things that just exist in the world.
Well, that was interesting to watch. It was, for me, a very busy video to look at and very distracting. If the topic of that video was distracting, it surely was for me. Clearly, we don't train the same way. You know, I don't like training with lures. I've never used them and I never will. I don't need them. And they're just adding steps that we don't need. Therefore, big no-no in my book. If you enjoyed this video, please comment below if you want to see more, or if you have videos that you want me to react to. I can do more of those as well. Whatever works for you. We're in this together, right? This is me signing off and saying bye-bye, doggos. See you next time, YouTubes.